Hi, welcome to the data overview for the ELA milestone. My name is Haley Cooper and I am a second grade teacher at Kemp Elementary School. Today we'll be looking at demographic student data for the ELA milestone over the past 3 years. The purpose of this presentation is to review demographic changes over the last 3 years, review student achievement in ELA on the Georgia milestone over the past 3 years compared to the district, continue ongoing data analysis to determine areas of improvement in ELA, identify strengths and weaknesses in ELA instruction. Questions to consider during this presentation are: what are the current student strengths in ELA? What weaknesses are present in the current ELA curriculum? How can we work on moving students up to the next learner level? How can we use data to support these students that are not currently meeting the standards? And how can we use short-term data to effectively evaluate student progress? We're going to start today by looking at the College and Career Readiness Performance Index, or CCRPI. According to the Georgia DOE, the CCRPI is a report used by the Accountability Division that measures how well the school, district, and state are doing in preparing students for the next educational level. In elementary schools, the CCRPI includes 4 main components, each scored on a scale of 0 to 100: achievement, progress, closing gaps, and readiness. These components, encompassing multiple indicators, are combined for a total CCRPI score on a scale of 0 to 100. The CCRPI also reports other information, such as the performance of student subgroups, school climate, and financial efficiency status. Here's the CCRPI for the past 3 years comparing Kemp Elementary School to Cobb County and the state. As you can see, Kemp Elementary continuously scores higher on their CCRPI than the district and the state. Overall, Cobb County scores higher than the overall state of Georgia on their CCRPI. One thing that stands out to me in looking at the CCRPI data over the past 3 years is that we did experience a drop of about 4 points from 2017 to 2018. However, this isn't super concerning to me because the CCRPI evaluation changed from 2017 to 2018. So though those scores aren't comparable, it still issues a little bit of a concern and is something that we need to look out for in the coming years, just trying to continue to improve that CCRPI score as we have in the past. Now we're going to take a look at student enrollment over the past 3 years. As you can see, just by looking at the graph, there was a significant drop in student enrollment in 2017, and then it jumped back up in 2018. In 2016, there were 1,010 students enrolled at Kemp Elementary. In 2017, there were 966 students enrolled. In 2018, there were 993 students. There were several new neighborhoods built in 2017, so this could be due to the increase in student population. The decrease from 2016 to 2017 could be due to the fact that people aren't really moving out of the area. They're staying in the area, so we're seeing the same families going through the school system in our area. Now let's take a look at the student demographics over the past 3 years. As you can see, the demographics of the school haven't changed too much. We see a slight decrease of our white population and an increase in students that are Black and Hispanic from 2016 to 2018. Now we're going to take a look at the special populations of students from 2016 to 2018. As you can see, there is a significant number of gifted students in all 3 years. Our numbers in all categories seem to remain about the same and don't change too much. We see a slight increase in the number of limited English proficient students from 2016 to 2018. In 2016, we had 37 students. In 2017, we had 42, and in 2018, we have 47. The other area that we see that is pretty high are students that are economically disadvantaged. So today we are going to really focus in on students with limited English proficiency and our students that are economically disadvantaged. Now we're going to take a quick look at the transiency rate at Kemp Elementary School compared to Cobb County. As you can see, our transiency rate, or student mobility, the number of students that are moving out of the school, is significantly below that of the county. Like I mentioned earlier, we don't have a lot of students that move in and out throughout the school year. It seems to stay pretty consistent. We did see a rise in our transiency rate from 2016 to 2018. The number of teachers at Kemp Elementary School has seemed to remain about the same over the past 3 years. Teachers typically come to the school and don't leave until they're ready for retirement or moving up to the next level in their career. In 2016 and 2017, we had 68 teachers. In 2018, we dropped down to 67 teachers. The teacher demographics, just like the number of teachers, seems to remain pretty consistent because, as I said, the same people are teaching in the school over the past 3 years. The years of teacher experience over the past 3 years at Kemp Elementary School has seemed to increase. This could be due to the fact that teachers remain in the school and don't leave, so therefore their years of experience would continue to increase as they continue to teach at the school. In 2016, we had 2 teachers that had less than 1 year of experience. In 2017, we had 1, and in 2018, we had 0. So we had no new hires in 2017 and 2018. Now let's really start to dig into the ELA performance for Kemp Elementary School. As you can see, the number of students that are scoring in the proficient and distinguished levels seem to remain fairly the same. There was a decrease in 2018, and we also saw an increase in the amount of students that were beginning and developing learners. This raises a bit of a concern and is something that we're going to dig deeper into throughout this presentation. Compared to the county in 2018, Kemp Elementary School still had a higher percentage of students scoring at the proficient and distinguished level than both Cobb County and the state of Georgia. We also had a lower amount of students in the beginning and developing levels. Now we're going to look at the performance on the 2018 milestone by student demographics. As you can see, the students with the highest amount of the population scoring at the beginning proficiency lays in the students with disabilities. The second highest group are the economically disadvantaged. Both of these student groups also had a higher percentage of students in the developing proficiency. Now let's look a little bit closer at the students with disabilities compared to students without disabilities. So on the 2018 ELA milestone, we had 19.1% of our students with disabilities scoring in the beginning proficiency on the Georgia milestone compared to the students with disabilities that scored 3.1 or with 3.1%. What we need to look at working on is moving these students up into the next level. So moving students from the beginning proficiency to developing, the developing to proficient, and the proficient to distinguished. And looking at the number of student absences of the students with disabilities compared to the absences of students without disabilities, they seem to remain the same. There is a lower percentage of students that have less than 5% of absences, and a higher percentage of students with 6 to 15 absences. Now let's take a closer look at the students that are economically disadvantaged. So when we look at the data compared to our not economically disadvantaged students, we see that there is a higher percentage of students scoring in the developing and beginning proficiency that are economically disadvantaged compared to the students that are not economically disadvantaged. And looking at the student absences, we notice again that the percentage of students with less than 5 absences remain fairly the same. However, when we look at this number of students with 6 to 15 absences, we see that there is a lower percent of students that are economically disadvantaged that have missed that many school days in comparison to the non-economically disadvantaged students. Now, when we look at the percentage of students who have more than 15 absences, we see that there is a 5% more of the population that are missing more than 15 days of school. So, in conclusion, from looking at the data, the strengths that we can identify is that we have a low transiency rate. Students are scoring higher on the ELA portion of the milestone than students in the county and state. Teachers tend to stay at the school, so the number of years of experience of teachers continues to increase. There is a low percentage of student absence. Our CCRPI score is consistently above that of the county and the state. We have more ELL students scoring in the proficient and distinguished categories. Our weaknesses that we can identify from the data is that we had more students scoring in the beginning and developing category on the ELA milestone in 2018 than the years past. We also had a higher percentage of economically disadvantaged and students with disabilities scoring in the beginning and developing categories on the ELA milestone. The next steps that we are going to take are: how can we move students from the proficient and distinguished categories on the ELA milestone? How can we continue to close the gap? How can we support students that are economically disadvantaged in ELA instruction? And how can we use local data to improve test results?